As part of the Land Reforms Future International Symposium, we asked attendees to reflect on their experiences of taking part by asking them to answer one of the following questions.
Hi, my name is Dr. Jessica Lynch-Boucher, and I'm a member of the Stakeholder Advisory Group for Scotland's Land Reform Futures. One of the main key takeaways and patterns that I'm observing during the symposium is around the issues of the scale of governance, so the difficulty sometimes doing things at a national scale and the power of more local decision-making in governance. And I think also one of the patterns I'm picking up on is this issue of paradox. So this isn't black and white. There are no yes and no's or us versus them. It's really, we need diversity. We need a mosaic of different types of land ownership and management.
Hello, I'm Suhaila Shirbaji. I'm a PhD student at the University of Manchester, studying crofting, and I was very happy to be able to come to the Land Reform Symposium at the James Hutton Institute. I've learned a lot through the past 2 days about the kinds of the patterns and dynamics of land parcelization and consolidation we see across different countries, but most importantly, what these tell us about the relationships people build with the land and through the land, and what they want from these relationships. I feel a key takeaway, and it's a very critical one at the stage of thinking about land reform, is that landed interests cannot be held above public interest, and this is something that I hope we can talk more and more about in more open and transparent and honest ways.
Hello, good morning. My name is Francesco Pieri. I'm Land Tenure Officer in the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. The key takeaways, what I've learned from this symposium, first is that there is still a need of knowing more of issues of land tenure and land reforms in the global north. We, as FAO, we mainly work in the global south, in so-called developing countries or small income countries. So also most of our knowledge is based on these kind of countries. This symposium was particularly interesting for many other reasons, but especially, to my opinion, for this reason, that the seminar unveiled a lot of information and knowledge on the way land is administered, land tenures, and the perspective of land reforms in several countries in the global north, from Canada, Australia, Netherlands, so on and so forth.
Hi, my name is Maria de la Torre. I'm with Nature Scott. I've been really inspired by this symposium. What I feel has been the main takeaway message from the symposium has been that there is still a lot of work to be done in this journey. It's interesting to learn from other countries that there is a lot of issues to address from past changes to land systems, but also there is a need to think about what's the future and how we address the current pressures on land and provide more opportunities for land to be providing that public interest. One lesson that it's important that Scotland can, I think, promote quite clearly is about the legislation we've got, but particularly I think the Scottish Land Fund and other instruments that are there to incentivise a more diverse system of ownership. It's something that could be quite an interesting example to share with other countries.
I'm Jamie Baxter. I'm an associate professor of law at Dalhousie University in Halifax, Canada, and a board member at the National Farmers Foundation in Canada, which is a national charitable organization that addresses farmland access and protection. And so I think my main takeaway from the symposium was, kind of a key lesson from the Scottish context about how much a national conversation driven by legislative reform really changes the tenor of the conversation and the focus of the conversation. The comparison to Western Canada, where it's been much more of a decentralized movement, and I think much less of a unified national conversation about the significance of land reform, in our context for the impact that has on the food system and food system transformation. And so it was really exciting to see, from my perspective, what that looks like from a kind of national conversation perspective.